It doesn't matter how it's done, how much the score is, or what's happening on the field. All that matters is that the Seattle Seahawks won another football game, and they're sitting at 5-2 on the season. They just find ways to win. It's never pretty. It's never the most calming blowout win where we don't have to worry about it. It's always sketchy. It's always a heart attack game. It's always a nail biter. But they won. The Seahawks are 5-2, and they sit in first place. Yeah, you heard that right, 49ers fans. They sit in first place ahead of the San Francisco 49ers for first place in the NFC West. How's that happen? Well, simply the Seahawks have kind of just found a way to inch into these wins, and they've won 2 in a row, and the 49ers have lost 3 straight, and they're sitting at 5-3. And we haven't even played yet. So we are now in a place where we finally get to say we control our own destiny moving forward. On top of that, the Seattle Seahawks are in second place in the entire NFC, in the entire conference. Right now, if the playoffs started today, we'd be the 2 seed in the playoffs. The Eagles are 7-1. We are 5-2. We have the tiebreaker over Dallas and the Detroit Lions, and we end up playing Dallas later in the year. So the Seahawks are finally in this place where they control their own destiny. Like I said, it's not the easiest game. It's not the cleanest game, but they're finding ways to win. Let's just, first of all, mention, I got the hat on, the Seahawks throwbacks, 1-0 in the throwbacks. They look amazing. I know there's a lot of people that say, no, I would not want them back. It's not it reminds me of the losing times that we had as a franchise. We never won in those. Okay, all that's cool and all to me. Like, that sounds nice and everything, but they look so good. The silver helmet's amazing. The color blue, the apple green, it all just looks unreal. Like, I don't know how you could argue otherwise, that it just looks super good. To me, it looks amazing. So, they win in the throwbacks. It looked good. It felt good. It was sketchy for some time, but it was nice in other times. Let's start with the offense. The offense. The first 2 drives of the game, they go up 14-0. I tweeted, I think, Gino is back. This offense is back. They look like the offense that we were expecting them to be. When you have, you got a Jake Bobo touchdown. You have Tyler Lockett making plays. DK Metcalf making plays. Jackson Smith and Jigba making plays. Kenneth Walker with a 45-yard run. Zach Charbonnet making some catches out of the backfield. Gino Smith's looking good. Offensive line's good. Everything looks amazing. And then for about 3 quarters, or 2.5 quarters, whatever you call it, halfway through the first quarter, moving forward until the last 5 minutes of the game, the offense was awful. And by awful, I literally mean awful. I mean, I'm not trying to sugarcoat it. It was so bad. There was no more run game. There was no more pass game. Gino Smith, I think, threw 2 picks. Should have been third. There should have been a pick 6 that might have ended the game by Gino Smith. Instead, the guy dropped it. We got the ball back. We ended up scoring. We ended up winning the game. The offense was really bad for a while, but they just found a way to brush that off. And we'll get to the defense because the defense has been saving them. They brush it off, and they go down last drive of the game with 38 seconds left. They score a touchdown. Geno Smith to Jackson Smith and Jigba. And that drive was just bang, 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 touchdown. They made it look so easy. They made it look like they're one of the best offenses out there. And I don't know why that keeps happening. That's the only thing I would say coming out of all this. It's the only negative. Obviously, like I said, there's a positive to it too. The game-winning drives. Geno Smith has, since the beginning of last year till now, it's Tom Brady and Matt Ryan. Since 2022, Tom Brady and Matt Ryan were the only 2 that had more game-winning or go-ahead touchdowns to end a game than Geno Smith, and now it's Geno Smith. Geno Smith has the most game-winning drives in the NFL since 2022, start of 2022. That's wild. For some reason, when it comes down to it, and it's a good reason, this is a good thing. I'm not saying some reason is a bad thing. For some reason, he always finds a way. And I love that he finds a way because it's good for the Seahawks. It gives me a lot of the Russell Wilson-esque times of our franchise. I know that's, that time's gone, but it feels the same where, they look really good, and then there's just this extreme emptiness for 3 quarters, and then, there goes Russell Wilson game-winning drive. That's what Geno Smith's seeming to do a lot, right? Is show up when it matters, look good in spurts, look bad in spurts. Overall, at the end of the day, I'll break down all the numbers, and I'm going to be doing my weekly PFF ratings video. Probably Tuesday or Wednesday this week. Where do we rank at every single category? How do we rank in this game when those grades are out? Because right now, regardless of the eye test that they look really good sometimes, really bad sometimes, the PFF grades, the analytics, the everything shows that we're somewhere between like a 8th to 10th best offense in football and 8th to 10th best defense in football, and we're really good. So despite the high highs and the low lows, that usually equals something in the middle with that offense especially, and that equals that we're pretty good because the highs are way higher than the lows. The lows just are not resulting in points, but the highs are resulting in winning games and points and touchdowns when it matters. And scoring enough points to win the game means your offense is doing good enough. Obviously, there's a defensive side. The defensive side of it is they're keeping us in every game, which is exactly what you want for a balanced team, right? That's what a balanced football team does. You score 24 points, whatever it was, and you give up 20. That's perfect. If you tell me my team's going to give up somewhere between like 17 and 20 points every game, and I just need my offense to score 3 touchdowns or 2 touchdowns and 3 or 4 field goals, I'll take it. And that's what's happening. So the defense is keeping us in this game. They have their moments. They're a young defense. Let's not forget. I know there's some pieces that are veterans in Bobby Wagner, Jamal Adams, Quandre Diggs. He's not that old, but you know what I mean. But there's a lot of young pieces. The corners are young. You have a lot of new pieces like a Julian Love and Draymond Jones and a lot of people you've brought in. You have Jordan Brooks, who's 8 months off of ACL injury, who's having a phenomenal game today, like 8.5 months off of ACL surgery, which is insane. There's a lot of pieces that it's just not fully developed yet. We're only 7 games in. So, but they are playing really good most of the time. Today, when we needed it, Jamal Adams was Michael Jordan-esque, jumped in the air 50 feet, hit his helmet, popped it up in the air to Julian Love, caught it, Seahawks get the ball back, touchdown, win the game. Moments, right? Those moments. Tariq Woolen and Devin Witherspoon, despite a lot of ups and downs that are happening within these games and penalties or different things, like they're not getting scored on in the biggest moment of the game to lose. Nope. The defense is actually making stops. And Bobby Wagner and Jordan Brooks are holding down that linebacking group, making stops. The defensive line, Boye Mafe, a big sack today. 5 games in a row with a full sack. It's the second longest streak in Seahawks history since the 80s. 5 straight games of a sack. Darrell Taylor has been absent for the last 3 years. Big sack when we needed it today. Everything about this defense is what I like. A team that shows up when it matters. They might have some lapses here and there. Yeah, we're not dominant to the point where we're giving up 2 points a game, 3 points a game. You know what I mean? We're not like shutting teams out left and right. But they're not giving up 30, 40 points very often. They're holding it down when it matters the most, which equals wins. It equals the offense just has to do enough to win the football game. And we're getting there. And that's what I just love about this football team. Overall, what do we say, right? It's amazing. You have guys right now. Let's just go through. This is exactly what I want to end on today. It's just a rant post game. So if you're expecting something even crazier, you should know me by now if you follow this page, if you're subscribed. If you don't, after games on Sundays, I will post a late night Sunday night rant. This is what I'm doing. But right now, the biggest winner of everything, John Schneider and Pete Carroll. What are they doing with this player personnel? How are they finding these guys? How are they making the exact right draft picks? This is so 2012-13-esque. The only difference is we don't have a rookie quarterback. We have Gino Smith, who's also, just hear me out, even if he hasn't played perfect, he's also a guy that everybody gave up on for 10 years and was a backup and didn't start a game for like 6 years. After being essentially like a Heisman quarterback candidate in college, coming into the NFL as a guy who's supposed to dominate. Nobody gave him a second chance anymore. I mean, like other teams gave him a fake second chance. The Seahawks gave him a chance, and now he's this. So the player personnel stuff, the Seahawks are winning. Devin Witherspoon, win. You have Derek Hall's looked good this year. You have Jackson Smith and Jigba. You've got Jake Bobo. You got all these pieces from drafts that look good. Jarek Reed, first play of the game today, big hit in special teams. You might laugh at special teams. If you watch my last video, Seahawks currently, special team PFF ratings are second in the entire NFL. It makes a difference. The punting, the field goals, the big hits on a kickoff before a team gets more yardage, it all matters. Everybody is showing up for this team, and that's what's the beauty of it. And then you go back to what they've done in like off-season stuff, right? They've kept Jamal Adams and encouraged him coming back. They brought back Bobby Wagner. They helped Jordan Brooks develop. They, everything about Julian Love, a guy who got the interception today that helped steal the win, or help begin the drive before we go won the game. A lot of good pieces. And then you look at last year's draft. Kenneth Walker. Oh, sorry, I forgot Zach Charbonnet from this year's draft too. But last year's draft, Kenneth Walker, Charles Cross, Tariq Woolen, Boye Mafe. They just, and Abe Lucas, he's out right now, but they just keep finding a way. And then you look at this situation. Today, I just want you to remember today who we played. The Cleveland Browns are the number 1 rated pass rushing team in the entire NFL. At one point today, I saw Jason Peters, the 41-year-old unretired offensive lineman, 41, who wasn't on a team to start this year because he's 41 years old, offensive lineman. I saw him in the game at some point for the Seahawks today because of another bang-up injury. Like, I saw Bradford go out and Stone Forsythe and Jason Peters, Jake Curran. I saw these guys play for the Seahawks today against the number 1 pass rush defense in the entire NFL. Now, did Myles Garrett do some work? Hell yeah, he did. He's Myles Garrett. If we had the best offensive line in football, he would do work. Myles Garrett can go against the best right tackle, left tackle, the nose tackle. He can go against like the center, the guards, nose tackles defense. You know what I'm saying. I'm just ranting. Myles Garrett can do it against anybody. We had a mix of Stone Forsythe and Bradford and Jake Curran and 41-year-old Jason Peters out there, and they held it down. The Seahawks team I don't know how Pete Carroll and John Schneider don't get even more credit than they already do. If they just fucking ran the ball or if Russell Wilson didn't throw a pick on the 1-yard line against the Patriots, we're probably talking about back-to-back Super Bowls. We're probably talking about Pete Carroll at the level of other coaches like Andy Reid. Everyone always doesn't want to mention Pete Carroll when they talk about Mike Tomlin, Bill Belichick, Andy Reid, John Harbaugh, all these guys. And then they're like, Kyle Shanahan. Okay, well, what are the 49ers? 49ers, you haven't even won in your lifetime if you're watching this probably. Okay? I probably don't have any 80-year-olds watching this video. The 49ers didn't win in your lifetime. And Pete Carroll gets disregarded because of that one play. He won 2 national championships in college. He won a Super Bowl and went to back-to-back Super Bowls. Last year, they're supposed to be with fucking 2-3-win team, 4-win team. They made it to the playoffs. Pete Carroll and John Schneider continually do not get enough credit, and they continually should. Because you look at games like today, no matter what's happening, I'll tell you something. A lot of coaches do not instill that confidence in Gino Smith today. Remember last year against the Chargers, he looked at him and said, breathe, relax. It's going to be okay. A day like today, there's a lot of quarterbacks would be freaking out about their teammates, their coach. They're going to get yelled at. Do they have confidence in me? Gino Smith knows. That mindset of Pete Carroll and this organization, this culture is to stay calm. We'll figure it out and we'll win. That's what I liked about Russell Wilson. If there's one thing I loved about Russell Wilson when he was in Seattle, there's multiple things. I'm not even a Russell Wilson hater. I think we moved off at the right time, even though he looks all right now in Denver. But I think it was getting gimmicky in Seattle. But the one thing I loved about him was cool, calm, and collective. We're down by fucking 30 in the fourth quarter. He'll be like, you never know. God's got our back. Let's go win. And he actually believes it. So Pete Carroll instills that in these guys too. Pete Carroll makes Gino calm. Gino goes out, and guess what Gino fucking does? He goes out after throwing 2 picks, after almost throwing a pick 6 to lose the game. He goes down, bang, 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 touchdown, Seahawks win. Confidence, composure, being calm, having the right coach, having the right culture, having the right personnel. This is a lot on Pete Carroll and John Schneider, making sure that no matter what happens, this team is constructed in a way that has the right people, the right attitudes, the right vibes, the right mentality, whatever you want to call it. So overall, what I get from this game is a couple things I mentioned. The defense is still killer. The offense makes plays when it needs to. Pete Carroll and John Schneider are finding the right people for this team. The throwbacks are one of the best jerseys I've ever seen in my life. And yes, I saw them in my lifetime. I was born in the 90s, so I did see them. But they're amazing. That's pretty much it. And the last takeaway is the fucking Seahawks are second place in the NFC, and they're in first place in the NFC West. I think they are the only team that's, if I'm not mistaken, there's only one or two one-loss teams. So they're technically like the second best record in the entire NFL. And I'm checking on my phone right now. Not a very compelling way to end the video, but you feel me. The Seahawks currently, technically, because of their bye week too, they're one game behind. They're technically at like the sixth best record in the NFL. They're in sixth. It's Philly at 7-1. Kansas City at 6-2, Miami 6-2, Jacksonville 6-2, Baltimore 6-2, and then Seahawks 5-2. We had the bye already, but we play Baltimore next week. Woo! If we go 6-2 after beating Baltimore and Detroit, who are all right here in this team's good at football. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't sexy. It wasn't, the coolest win we've ever had. When it mattered, it happened. And we saw touchdowns from Jake Bobo and Jackson Smith and Jigba 2 weeks in a row. Just think about that. We have DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett on our team and Kenneth Walker. That's a great running back. We have 2 weeks in a row of Jake Bobo, that one especially, Jake Bobo and Jackson Smith and Jigba scoring touchdowns. Boye Mafe, big sack when it mattered. Witherspoon, Woolen making plays. Always out there. Jamal Adams making plays. The offensive line holding it down as best as they can. Bobby Wagner out there. Jordan Brooks looking great. Everything about this is just a positive sign. There are negatives. Like I said, the offense died for 3 quarters straight almost. And they did that a week ago. They forgot about the run game. It happens. At the end of the day, I'm just clicking schedule. 5-2 ahead of the 49ers. I love to see it. I'll be back in a day or two with PFF rankings when they drop. It might be tomorrow. See where we rank compared for this game. What I'll do is PFF for this game, a PFF ranking for the entire against the rest of the NFL on Tuesday or Wednesday. I love y'all. Go Hawks. What a win.